Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Samarkand, addressed the SCO leaders on day 2 of the summit. During his speech, the Indian Prime Minister emphasized on how the country supports mutual trust among SCO leaders. He also raised the issue of transit rights between member states. Now, in a message to Islamabad, the Indian Prime Minister said that it took many months for India to get transit rights to send supplies to Afghanistan via Pakistan. He added that better connectivity is required for development. The Prime Minister also added that SCO members must extend support to traditional medicine.
महामारी और यूक्रेन के संकट से ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन्स में कई बाधाएं उत्पन्न हुई, जिसके कारण पूरा विश्व अभूतपूर्व ऊर्जा एवं खाद्य संकट का सामना कर रहा है। एससीओ को हमारे क्षेत्र में विश्वस्त, रेजिलिएंट और डाइवर्सिफाइड सप्लाई चेन्स विकसित करने के लिए प्रयत्न करने चाहिए। इसके लिए बेहतर कनेक्टिविटी की आवश्यकता तो होगी ही, साथ ही यह भी महत्वपूर्ण होगा कि हम सभी एक दूसरे को ट्रांजिट का पूरा अधिकार दें।
The Prime Minister also asserted on how he wants to transform India into a manufacturing hub, further adding that India's economy is expected to grow at the rate of 7.5% this year. The Indian Prime Minister also highlighted how the supply chains were disrupted due to 2 major reasons. That is, first, the COVID-19 pandemic, and second, the ongoing war in Ukraine.
हम भारत को एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनाने पर प्रगति कर रहे हैं। भारत का युवा और प्रतिभाशाली वर्कफोर्स को मैं स्वाभाविक रूप से कॉम्पिटिटिव बनाता है। इस वर्ष भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था में 7.5% वृद्धि की आशा है, जो विश्व की बड़ी इकोनॉमीज में सबसे अधिक होगी।
Prime Minister Modi will also be holding a number of crucial bilaterals on the sidelines of the summit. He will be holding talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, and Uzbek President as well. This is the first in-person meeting of the SCO leaders since the COVID-19 pandemic broke. Leaders of the 8-nation organization have deliberated on various issues ranging from regional security situation to trade and connectivity. Let's talk more about the SCO meeting. Joining us live from Samarkand is WION Principal Diplomatic Correspondent Sidhant Sibal. Hi Sidhant, the stakes have been raised at the meeting. We have the Indian Prime Minister raising pertinent issues in regards to the stability of the borders and also the region. Could you sum up some of the important points that were raised on day 2 of the summit?
Well, Eric, we today saw 2 key meetings. First, of course, the SCO summit, the SCO restricted meeting in which the 8 member countries participated. There were no public announcements as to what the conversations were like, given that these were restricted meetings. But it was the second meeting, that is the SCO expanded format meeting, that saw the Indian Prime Minister's speech and other leaders also speaking. One of the key takeaways on the D-Day, I would like to say, is that India has been just a short while ago handed over the presidency of the grouping. It's a big moment for India. India hosts the summit next year. Now, talking about the Indian Prime Minister's speech, the 3 key takeaways I would like to list is the fact that the Indian Prime Minister talked about transit rights. That, of course, is impacting connectivity. We know that it's a message to Islamabad. Pakistan has been blocking India's connectivity to its west. The second, of course, has been on the food crisis. The Indian Prime Minister talked about how millets is a superfood and emphasized on the usage of millets. And third, of course, is the fact that the Indian Prime Minister mentioned Ukraine conflict and COVID crisis impacting the supply chains. This is interesting and important as well. Interesting because the Indian Prime Minister highlighted this at a grouping which is dominated by China and Russia. Clearly, when the Indian Prime Minister mentions Ukraine conflict in the presence of the Russian President, this is a message that everyone is noting, especially in the West. But by and large, it was a constructive day for India. The Russian President and the Chinese President both lauded and welcomed India's presidency of the grouping. And of course, the Chinese President also said that they will support the Indian presidency of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
Siddhant, focus now shifts to the talks between Putin and Prime Minister Modi a short while from now. What can you tell us about that?
Well, yes, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President are due to meet shortly. We know that this is an important engagement. It's the first time both the leaders are meeting since the Ukraine conflict, in-person meeting between the two sides since the conflict began in February. Now, we know that when it comes to Russian President, it is very crucial to basically showcase that the Asian countries, Eurasian landmass is backing him, supporting him, and amidst the sanctions by West and isolation by West of Moscow, it is these countries who continue to engage with Russia. Now, we know that he had bilateral with the Chinese president on Thursday, and today, of course, he has bilateral with the Indian Prime Minister. Defense already has been a main key pillar of engagement. Now it looks like that energy has also become another key pillar of engagement, given that how India has increased its import of energy from Russia since the conflict began in February.
Siddhant, stick around. I don't want to let you go right now. We'll talk about the another highlight of the SCO summit. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.